Welcome team, back by popular demand is our support video. So we're going to be going through two questions from today's video and questions, going through the steps to solve them and some extra tips and tricks. So first thing to look at here with the first question is we are multiplying two things. So here's the first thing and here's the second thing. If you multiply anything times 0, it equals 0. So what that means is this can equal 0 or this could equal 0. And if either of those things are 0, then the whole thing has to be 0. They can also both be 0, but as long as at least one of them is, we're good. So the way that we set this up is we take what's in red and we set that equal to 0. We can also take what's in blue, and you guessed it, set it equal to 0. So if you have multiple terms, if you are multiplying them, you take each of the products, set those products equal to 0. So here's one answer. The second one, we have one algebra step to go through, and boom, there is our second answer. So 0 and -7 are the two correct answers for that first question. Second, solving for intercepts. Depending on which level you're on, if you're on mild, this is question 5. X squared minus 11x plus 24 equals 0. So important first steps here. When solving, you have to make sure that everything is equal to 0. If it's not equal to 0, you can't start yet. Again, we're trying to get to that 0 product property. So set equal to 0. We can now take what we have and factor. So remember, we know our first, we know our last. Take your last term, list out all the things you can think of that when you multiply, equal it. Our sign is plus, so we're going to be adding. And it looks like 8 plus 3 is 11. So our edges here are going to be 8 and 3. We have to make sure we have a positive 24, but our middle term is negative. So last term is positive, middle term is negative, means both 8 and 3 have to be negative. Always good to go through and just double check though. So minus 8x minus 3x. Our diagonal does get us negative 11 specifically. And then -3 times -8 is positive 24. Okay, so we have now factored everything in yellow. And our fully factored answer in yellow is x minus 8, x minus 3. And it still equals, in blue up top there, 0. So just like before, we're multiplying two things. If either of these things is equal to 0, then everything is 0. They can also both be 0. So take each of your products, each of your parentheses, and set them equal to 0. A few steps of algebra to solve. And there we go. 8 and 3 are the two answers. All right, so here's support for two questions. As always, if you need help, either go over to the help table or call one of us over. We'll be over in just a moment. But hopefully this is a strong start for you on today's questions.